All right, guys, go ahead and drop your pencils and close your books. All you need in front of you is your Post-it notes and your book. When I say go, you're going to turn and tell your partner using your Post-it notes what is one new piece of information that you learned from this book. What is one new piece of information you learned from this book? Turn and tell your partner. Go. Javier, talk to Janad.
So what I
Nandi.
learned
Go ahead. What did you learn?
this book that a moth is not a butterfly. What else I learned in this book is bats have no beaks, they have mouths. I learned that toads have bumpy skin, and I also learned that insects have 6 legs. This has 1, 2.
Did you get a chance to share with Kenya?
5, 6, 7,
No?
8.
Did you get a chance to share with Namdi?
Look, a real
Yes?
spider
Okay.
should have.
Namdi, when we come back together, you'll be the first to share out, okay?
Did you get the third?
All right, guys, let's bring it back together, and I'll hang on to these spiders for you. Namdi, can you share with us what is one new piece of information that you learned from reading this book? Javier, make sure that your eyes are on Namdi so you can be able to agree with him if you learned the same thing.
So I learned that.
I see Janad making some connections to you. Janad, why are you making a connection?
I agree with you, Nandi, because I said that I learned that toads have bumpy skin.
Oh, it seems like Janad learned some of the same information as you. I've got a few questions about this book that we just read. Many of the animals in this book, they look the same until you take a closer look. I heard Janad saying that to his partner. What did you learn about the differences in the animals? What did we learn about the differences in the animals? Yes, Kenya? Oh, Kenya, you have to talk so that friends like Javier can hear you even though he's all the way over here. He's going to put his eyes on you so that he makes sure he hears you. Go ahead. What did you learn about the differences?
I learned about the difference is that some bugs have 6 legs and spiders have 8 legs.
So how are spiders and insects different?
Spiders and insects are different
Can you help her out, Janad? How are spiders and insects different from one another?
a spider has 8 legs and insects have 6.
Awesome. Namdi, tell us about a difference that you learned about from reading this book.
I noticed that frogs have smooth skin and toads have bumpy skin.
Great. So tell us how they are different. I want for you to reframe what you just said using the sentence, frogs and toads are different because...
Frogs and toads are different because...
Bring it to me, whatever that is. Someone bring it to me.
Now you can tell us about the skin. Frogs are different. Frogs and toads are different because...
Whatever that is.
Toads have bumpy skin and frogs have smooth skin.
Awesome. Javier, let's turn to page 12 like Namdi. He told us that one of the differences is that frogs have smooth skin and toads have bumpy skin. Where do you think he may have learned that information? He's on page 12. Can you tell me from page 12 where he may have learned that information? Janad is tracking Javier.
So he may have learned that information by reading on on 12 and 13.
Yeah. What else could he have used on pages 12 and 13 besides the words to tell him that frogs have smooth skin and toads have bumpy skin? What else do you think he may have used, Kenya? Look at those pages. What else could he have used? Javier and Janata are pointing you in the right direction on their own books. What are you pointing to right now, Javier?
I'm pointing to the labels.
To the labels. Labels help us to learn more information. Remember, we talked about that before we got started reading, Namzi. All right. In this book, the writer includes photographs and he includes labels. What kind of book do we think that this might be? What kind of book do we think it is? Yes, Janat?
I think it's a guessing book and an animal book.
Let me be more specific about my question. In this book, the author includes real photographs and he includes labels with some information. Do we think that this book is a fiction or a non-fiction book? Make sure that you're sure to tell me how you know when you answer. Kenya, start us off, and Javier, be ready to respond to Kenya. Go ahead.
It's a fiction.
I know because... Okay. Okay. So Javier is going to be ready to respond to you. Did you hear what she said, Javier? No. So that means you have to make sure your eyes are on her and you have to talk loud and proud so he can hear you. Go ahead. Tell him what kind of book you think it is and how do you know?
It's a fiction book because frogs are
How do you know that it's a fiction book? What makes you think it's fiction? Because some frogs are red and black. Javier, what do you think about what Kenya just told us? Talk to Kenya. I agree or disagree?
I agree with you, Kenya, because in the label it says bumpy skin.
Okay. So you agree with her reasoning. Do you agree that this book is fiction, Nandi?
No.
So talk to Kenya.
It's because
Kenya, I think.
Kenya, I think is non-fiction because
Well, you don't touch anyone in next to other stuff, but I want you to look for. Stop talking. Stop talking.
Thank you, Javier, for sending in love. What makes you think that this is a non-fiction book, Nandi?
that
Good job, Javier. Still second, Nandi. Good job.
because those animals don't talk.
Okay. So we don't see talking animals in this book. Janad, who do you agree with? Do you agree with Javier, who says that it's fiction, or do you agree with Nandi, who says that it's non-fiction? Make sure you tell me why. tracking, Kenya?
Because I agree with Namdi because these are real photographs
Mm-hmm.
and on the last page it says and see what else you find. It doesn't really mean nothing.
Okay, so you told us that the photographs are real in the book, that they use real photographs. And Namdi told us that he doesn't see any talking animals. So let's think. If we see real animals, Javier, and we see real photographs in our book, what kind of book do we think that we are reading? A fiction book or a nonfiction book? Kenya?
Nonfiction.
Can you tell us why you think that we're reading a nonfiction book? You can use what we've learned from your teammates.
It's a non-fiction book because this is a real frog and a real photograph.
Yeah. Also, take a look at your post-it notes. What did we jot down on our post-it notes, Namdi? What did we jot down? What did Mrs. Faust ask you to jot down on your post-it note? Not from your book, on your post-it note. What did I tell you to write down on your post-it note? Javier, do you remember my direction for your post-it notes? What did I tell you to write down?
You told me to write down the information that you learned from the book.
I told you to write down the new information that you had learned from the book. We learn new information from nonfiction books. Nonfiction books teach us something new. Tomorrow, when we take a look at this